Let's learn about IELTS listening test question types. The IELTS listening test has three main question types. 1. Fill in the gaps questions. 2. Multiple choice questions. 3. Map questions. Each of these question types tests a different set of skills, and therefore each question type requires a different strategy. Now let's look at fill in the gaps questions. Fill in the gaps questions present you with an incomplete sentence, phrase, or table. You must complete the information which is missing, which will be either words, numbers, or a combination of both, by selecting the correct words from what you hear in the listening exercise. How they look. Here are some examples of what fill in the gaps questions look like. You can see there's always a line in the part where you need to put in some information, and the number next to that is the question number. Skills tested. Fill in the gaps questions test these skills. 1. Vocabulary range. They test your vocabulary range because you must be able to recognize the correct word when you hear it. 2. Spelling. They test your spelling because you need to write the word in the gap with the correct spelling. 3. Grammar. They test your grammar because you must write the word in the gap with the grammatically correct form. Strategy. During your 30 seconds of preview time before the listening exercise starts, you should check this information. Firstly, what kind of information you are allowed to use. At the top of the exercise, you will be told you can use up to 1 word, up to 2 words, or up to 3 words. And sometimes you are told you can also use a number. This is quite useful to tell you what kind of information you will need to put in the gap and what kind of information you won't need. If you are told you can only use 1 word, it will never be an article, that's a word like a, an, and the. It will never be a preposition, that's a word like in, at, and on. And it will never be a conjunction, that's a word like and, but, so, and after. If you are told you can use up to 3 words, that is the time when you may need to write an article, preposition, or conjunction. But if you do, it will only ever be the middle word of a 3-word phrase. For example, call the manager, where the middle word is the article the. Recognize on site, where the middle word is the preposition on. Apples and oranges, where the middle word is the conjunction and. Next, you should check the grammar of the words near the gap. This will tell you something about the grammar of the word or words which belong in the gap. Let's look at some examples. This sentence reads, no blank is required to make it work. What should we put in this gap? Grammatically, this gap needs at least 1 noun, and the noun must be singular. We know it must be singular because of the verb is, which comes after the gap. And the word is the singular form of the verb. Let's look at another example. A key is needed in order to blank the door. Grammatically, this gap needs at least 1 verb, and the verb must be in the present tense. We know this because of the present tense verb is earlier in the sentence, and we know because the word to is the first half of an infinitive construction. That's the word to plus a verb in the present tense. Now let's look at another example. A tall man with blank hair. Grammatically, this gap needs at least 1 adjective. We know this because the next word after the gap is a noun, and we usually have adjectives in front of nouns. Sometimes we have nouns in front of other nouns as an adjectival noun phrase, but in this case, we know that hair is usually described with adjectives such as colour, length, and texture. Another important grammar point to check is whether there is any article near the gap. If the indefinite article a is used, this means you will need a noun which is singular and does not start with a vowel sound. That's an A-E-I-O-U sound. Remember, I'm talking about the sound, not the letter. Some words start with a vowel letter, but they don't start with a vowel sound. For example, the words uniform and universe start with a vowel letter, the letter U, but they don't start with a vowel sound. They start with the Y sound, Y, which is a consonant sound, not a vowel sound. If the indefinite article an is used, this means the next word will be a noun, singular, and will start with a vowel sound. A word like apple or elephant. If the definite article the is used, this means the next word will be a noun which may be singular or plural, and which may or may not start with a vowel sound. If there is no article, then the word could be a general noun. If that's the case, then if it is countable, it will most likely be plural. Of course, if it's uncountable, it will have to be singular. Note carefully that when there is no article, the word may be a general noun, or it may be a gerund, a verb plus ing, which acts like a noun. Here's an easy way to remember the information about articles and nouns. A and an for any. A dog, any dog. An apple, any apple. The for this. The dog, this dog. No article, all. Dogs, all dogs. In your review time for fill in the gaps questions, always double check your answers and in particular check spelling and grammar, especially small details like capital letters and plurals, which can be very easy to miss.